Welcome to another episode of the JCF Podcast. Today it's just me and Louis again, and we're going to be breaking down the history of JCF, how it came to, and everything above and beyond.
Yeah, man, let's get into it. I think it's important that our listeners realize where the foundations of the business come from. And obviously it all started with yourself, and then obviously it's built into something quite special now. And I think understanding where the origins were is going to be cool to unravel. And we've cut Tommy this podcast because he just waffles on too much. He can't get a word in.
You can't get a word in with Tommy.
Can't get a fucking word in. He can come every second podcast, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like we need to do some lessons, podcast lessons for Tommy.
Yeah, when someone else is speaking, you don't speak. And you've also got to realize that, the people listening to this, they might just have earphones in. And when someone's explaining something, breaking something down, particularly something interesting, they don't want to hear, "Yup, yeah, bro, fuck yeah, awesome," interrupting what someone's saying.
Shout out, Tommy.
Nah, love you, Tom.
Right, cool. Well, we'll dive into it. So I suppose breaking down where it first came from, or when I got into PT. So firstly, I actually hesitated getting into PT in my younger years. It was funny, when I came out of high school, everyone was like, you should do PT. You're so passionate about fitness. All you care about is training, the intricacies of it, nutrition. You're obsessed. You should be a PT. Teachers were saying it. Other students were saying it. And I had no interest of it because I also had a desire to financially build something. And at the time, it was well known that PT was a saturated industry. This we're talking 2014, 2015, very saturated. And online wasn't big at that point, right? So for me, it was construction is where money is. That's what I was told by my parents. That's what the older generation had funneled down to me, that construction's where money is.
Me too.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Me too. I went into a trade as well. Straight out of school, I went into a trade.
Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that's what used to make a lot of money, or the majority of?
I just think that in Australia, obviously, it's a rapidly growing country. There's always going to be work in a trade available. And I think it's one of those, that's a very saturated industry as well, but because there's so much construction going on, there's so many new houses, there's so many new buildings, there's so many new jobs, and all of these things need construction in order to obviously build them to start with, to build a new building, but then it also needs construction trades to maintain the building. And then obviously Australia was built relatively rapidly in comparison to other countries in the world. And then, there's so much, and because it's growing so much as well, some of the older buildings that were built in the 60s and 70s and 80s, they're all being demolished and they're all being renovated. And obviously it all needs tradies to do that. So it's sort of that industry where you're pretty much guaranteed continual work, and it's a real safe industry to just always have a job, which is what we need, right? You need that comfortability and you need that consistent work.
Is that the key word, though? Do you think maybe the older generation value safety, value continual work, as opposed to, actual value of dollar or how much you make in a total year?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the older generation are going to recommend that you get into a job that's going to consistently provide an income. And then obviously you've always got the avenue once you have that job to potentially earn more money. And I guess with a trade, you can start your own business. And it's quite, not going to say it's easy to do that, but it's very doable for someone who's got a comprehensive understanding of how to do their trade well. And then that's then a way that you can earn more and more money. And it's like a foolproof system of earning, so many people are doing it. A lot of people are successful at it. And it's something that so many people can talk from experience, I think.
Yeah, right. So it's
That's not the case for PTs, is it?
It's not.
How many people could you really speak to that are earning really good money as a PT? Just solely for example, and this is a bit of a deviation before we've even started, but I've recently bought quite a nice fucking car, my dream car, and people are often asking me, what do you do for work, man? Hey man, sick car, what are you doing for work? And I'm like, PT and coach, bro. And they almost seem a bit surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, what the fuck? You got, and when I posted the car on Instagram for the first time, I had a few either clients or just people who know me, in Bow Desert, go, fuck man, PT pays well. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
not that it's a crazy super, it's like a supercar or anything, but it's like, like people were surprised when
They
I
don't
tell them
understand.
and they see me in the street, whether it's just a stranger or I guess someone who knows me, doesn't know me well, that like, shit, what? PT earns good money, what the fuck? And like, I know it can happen. Like, obviously people earn good money in the fitness industry, but it's not as common. And it is a very saturated industry. Like what you told me just then, obviously, about it being saturated in 2014, it was super saturated when I got into it in 2019, 2020 as well. Fun fact, the online company or the company that does the course, the certified educator that I went through, 95% of their, I think this was just actually across the board, it wasn't just them, but 95% of individuals that complete the Cert 4 in fitness don't go on to work full-time in fitness for more than 3 months.
95%.
95%.
There you go.
They don't do it like full-time, so they're earning a full-time wage and income out of fitness. 95% never achieve that.
I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
I've seen that many people come and go from the industry. Over my years, I've seen so many people come in, start becoming a PT, excited, super motivated, and 3 months later, they're back doing, another 9-to-5 job or some other job that they may have previously been doing, but it's super common.
Yep.
But so I guess I went down that avenue and I started working out at warehousing out of high school. And then I got into construction where I was dogging and rigging and doing crane operating from time to time. And funnily enough, I was not earning good money at all. And there was no real room for progression for the people that I was working for. And I got to competing for the first time and obviously hired my first coach in order to do so. And that first 6 months I spent with that coach changed my life. It changed my work ethic. It changed the structure of my days. And I was just like, fuck, that's pretty cool how much that's changed my life.
The typical coaching effect that we fell in love with, right?
Effect. Now, I will be completely honest here. At the time, my coach also looked like he had, on social media, a pretty good lifestyle. Working from the beach, coffee in hand, at the cafe, making good money, had a nice car. And I'm thinking, dude, I love training. This has changed my life and it's a pretty cool thing. And it looks like and I'm like slogging my ass off 12 hours a day, sweating, fucking laboring, picking heavy shit up, fucking my back.
Dealing with fuckwits
on site. Like, bro, hating life and earning $1,000 a week. And I was just like 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hour days, $1,000 a week is what I was earning.
And bro, this is where everyone goes wrong, right? This is literally where everyone goes wrong with entering the fitness industry and doing that course. It's too good to be true. And it is. Like that is the long and short of it. Like you go into the fitness industry and essentially you get to train people all day, you get to build great relationships, you get to help people change their life. But unfortunately, you're not just going to waltz through your Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, get qualified, become a PT at a gym, and all of a sudden people are going to be frigging, jumping at you, wanting to...
With $100 notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think, anyway, I went and got qualified, and when I went to enter that course, I had to do it in the afternoon and evening, and the job at the time, they said, you're not doing that. And I said, well, I'm out then. And they were like, cool, see you, bye. So then I went and worked concreting with Hoyer's brother, actually. So I just sort of worked with him, got qualified, started PT on the side. So then my days sort of looked like get up at 3:30 in the morning, do a 4 a.m., 5 a.m. PT session, finish at 6, head to site, concrete till 2:30, head back to the gym. You can attest to this because I had concrete shit on the back of my truck.
Yeah.
And then I would shower and then start my afternoon PT sessions, run a class at 7 p.m., finish at 8, and then do my training session till 9, go home, and then get back up and rinse and repeat. So I did that for about 6 months.
You wouldn't be able to do that now, like physically. Like I just mean in the sense of like, I feel like as you've gotten older, surely you'll agree. Like I just think about that. When I was younger, it's possible that I could have maybe made that happen with an insane amount of struggle still, but I would not be able to perform that 8 to 9 p.m. session now. Like I physically couldn't fucking do that shit.
I couldn't do it either. And I couldn't do without the sleep consistently either like I used to.
Yeah.
But so what actually ended up happening is I got to a point where I was probably earning just enough in PT and concreting full time, but I kind of liked that amount of income too. Until one afternoon, I went into my closet and I just started breaking down crying randomly, like no reason. Didn't feel a certain way. Nothing happened.
Yep.
I just started randomly bawling my eyes out, bro. And I was that fucking just fatigued and just drained that I was just like, I was fucked, dude. And I was like, something's got to give. And that's when I handed in, or I actually went to part-time concreting and then reverted to just, focusing on PT. So it got to a point where I had to go all in, and everyone sort of, I guess, comes to that point.
And are we in 2020 here?
We're in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in 2019. So then 2020 comes around, and obviously COVID hits, and I've just gone full-time in PT. So I'm thinking, fuck. But luckily enough, we had gotten our hands on some gym equipment, and I was able to PT people out of the garage. And jets actually didn't stop for a while either, so I was able to work out of there for a bit too. But so that's kind of where the transition from my previous life to this current life happened. And then online was very, very big at this point. Very, very big. And there was a big shift of, like, I guess, competitive athletes becoming coaches.
Yep.
And then a lot of hatred coming from advanced, experienced coaches, like going, hey, just because you've competed, you can't now become a coach. And I was kind of one of those people, I suppose. But I think, like you said, right, a lot of people, because I enter for the same reason probably a lot of other people did. I did love it, but I also thought, fuck, this is a cool lifestyle, and that was a huge motivating factor. But I think what separates me from those people is I had genuine passion, as well as the excitement for this lifestyle, genuine fucking passion behind it as well.
Yep. Which you have to have.
Yeah. So then anyway, we'll fast forward to actually my first ever PT client that was regular. And her name was Janaea. Janaea? Yeah, it was Janaea. And she was 100 and I want to say 50 or 60. No, 160. She was 160 kilos. So I've got no experience with, or like social skills with people in the gym. And I've just come from being a tradie, and this lady walks in. She's a school teacher. She's overweight. She lacks confidence. She can tell she's just freaked out by walking into the gym. And I put her on the cycle bike, and she starts breaking down crying.
First session,
bro.
Okay.
My first PT session. And I've come from a trade side, dude. I don't watch people cry.
As you're saying all this, man, I just think back to like early clients, and this is all years and years ago for both of us, and you just go, like, knowing what I know now and having the comprehensive understanding of how to help people like that, the training, the nutrition, how to deal with all these scenarios as a professional for so many years, you just go, how was I even standing there ready to help this person? Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. But everyone's got to start from somewhere, even your coach or your PT. But anyway, continue. She's crying on the bike. She's crying on the bike.
And that was honestly probably one of the best things that could have happened to me, because it's where my connection with overweight people really started. And it was funny because I'd never really felt like that before, but I just felt obviously a lot of emotion myself watching that, and how she struggled and how upset she was and how embarrassed she was. By just trying to get onto the bike, because she'd struggled a bit to get onto the bike, and I think that's what caused her to cry.
Yeah, couldn't have gone with the treadmill, could you?
It's my first session, bro.
I know, man, but like, I'm like thinking the first thing, you've like gone for quite a reasonably difficult machine to get on. For a poor lady who's 160 kg.
Yeah.
Like, was it a proper exercise bike, or was it one of those bikes that you sort of sit back on?
No, it was a proper exercise.
Yeah, man. Was one of those available? One of those bikes that you sort of sit back on and just pedal?
Yeah, about 3 of them.
Yeah, man. Could you not have selected a piece of equipment? Like, poor Janaea is probably looking at those going, can I get on that, please? And you're like, no, hop on. The seat's probably fucking high as, and it's freaking...
It's going up her
you can't even see the seat. You know what I mean? No. I'm joking. Anyway,
she was awesome. So She was my first client, and we built an incredible relationship probably over a 6 to 12 month period. And she actually dropped 30 plus kilos. We got her down to 120.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She ended up actually getting the weight loss surgery from 120 kilos. And I think now she's down to probably, I don't even know. She looks like, from what I've seen on social media, 80, 70 kilos.
Oh.
Killing it.
Shout out Janaea.
Shout out Janaea. She's honestly done an amazing job.
We love that.
She's gotten married. She just looks like she's got a ball of confidence. She's thriving. She's still very active, eating well, and that she's one of the cases of people that went and got the weight loss surgery. This is obviously well before GLP-1s. But she went and got the weight loss surgery, and I had no problem with it because she had already lost 30 kilos. She had great nutritional structure. She was resistance training a minimum 3 times a week. She was focusing on getting her daily steps. She got the surgery, come out and kept doing the same shit.
She's built the foundation.
She built the foundations.
And then she's using the surgery as a tool, like you should use GLP-1s as a tool to get to the next level, but with these newfound habits and the foundation that you've created around training properly, sleep, steps, nutrition, hydration, you're able to go to that next level so much easier. And you can use that tool of, I guess, either surgery or, which I wouldn't recommend as much, but still, if that's what you want to do, or using a GLP-1 like retatrutide, you can then use that to really amplify progression, which almost like, at that point, it's like, okay, if you're willing to go down that path, why wouldn't you, considering you have developed the foundation? Anyway, so Janaea.
So Janaea was a huge highlight in my career. Shout out Janaea, obviously. Like I said, she's doing incredibly well.
Love that.
And the next highlight, I would say, was probably my first athlete or competitor client, which was Haley Bond, who you would know, yeah?
I know her, yeah. She was around.
Jets?
She was actually a PT at Jets, or was it not at Jets? No, she was, yeah. These were really early in my training days. I started properly in 2019.
Yeah.
Obviously doing sports my whole life prior to that, but yeah, and she was around Jets. That was my first gym. That's actually how I know Jack from Jets in Pimpama. But yeah, Haley, your first competitive client.
Yeah, so she had desires to compete, and just thinking back, I can't remember if I was completely transparent with her about her being my first competitive client. I believe I was.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so we got together and worked together, and she was my first competitive client. She obviously eventually made it to stage, which was fantastic. And she looked fantastic as well. She looked amazing. Looking back, it's just crazy. I've actually spoken to her about coming on the podcast at some point or another. Because I think she would be incredible to talk to about her experience and probably how terrible it was. But because I look back at the things I did with her now and I go, that was a really, really bad approach. Just a fuckload of cardio, ripping food out. That's all it was. It was just move the fuck more, eat the fuck less.
Do you think that she would really think that though? Because obviously I've been coached by you for nearly 6 years now, and even though your approach and knowledge has come so far since obviously those early stages of coaching, I never knew better at the time either, or looked at what you were doing bad. Because if you've got that foundation of you love what you do and you genuinely care about helping someone and you're willing to do everything in your power to help that person and give the time to that person, then you can't really be a really bad coach unless you completely know nothing.
You make a good point. You
make
a really good point.
Do you know what, though? I probably downplay. You do definitely need to know your shit as well to be a great coach. But all I'm saying is the biggest attribute a coach can have is genuine care for each individual client that they have and the willingness to do anything in their power to give them the best possible result.
I completely agree with you. I think the only argument I would have is that she was a competitive client. There's a big difference between losing weight, getting in shape, and then getting stage ready. Massive difference.
But did you get her in good shape?
Yep.
Did you really know what you were doing at the time?
No.
So you've just proved my point.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't know. When I look back, I wasn't assessing biomarkers like I should, and I wasn't responding to certain biomarkers that were clearly present like I should, but I didn't know no better. And I was, like you mentioned, doing everything within my power and knowledge to obviously achieve the result. So that was a huge learning curve for me, and one that did start to sort of ignite the passion for competing or becoming a competitive coach.
It's important to note, how many competitive seasons had you done yourself personally at this stage?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'd done 3 myself. And this was 2024. Sorry, I'd done 4.
Yep.
And this is 2021. So that would have been probably the year that we started working together.
It was, yeah. Whilst she was competing in her first show, I was on your team.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think, at that point I was probably coaching around 20 to 25 people a week. I was obviously completely PTing, and I'd immersed myself in the fitness industry by this point. And that's when I met a really close friend of mine now, Andy, who you know. And we actually met, and a conversation we had around social media, and he was sort of pushing me towards, hey, you should be getting on social media. You should be talking more. That's what your industry is about. So that's when I started creating social media content, talking about steps, nutrition, whatever I knew.
Mm.
And again, that further, I guess, propelled my business, if you will. And by this point, I had a great lifestyle. I was out on the jet ski on a Wednesday. I was earning decent money. I was getting great results with clients. I was doing a really, really good job with those clients. And I would almost say, in terms of balance, that's where I peaked at around 2022.
It's so funny because when you talk about that, obviously time goes so fast, and I'd already been coached by you a year. I'd known you about 18 months at that point, and I just remember this like it was yesterday, but it was so long ago.
What was your perspective, if you even had one, on my lifestyle?
I mean, I always knew you were a workhorse, and that was what drew me to you as a client. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to work with someone, because I know my work ethic, and I don't want to work with someone who I don't think is going to put that time into me. So
Yeah.
I knew that you like to grind, and I knew that you were willing to, like I said, give all of your effort into your clients. So that was a big thing for me. So I guess I probably didn't think too much about it, bro. Like, I always knew that you did crazy hours. So although I did see you on the jet ski on a Wednesday, I never thought anything of it, because I knew, like, and we've like, it's probably important for listeners to realize that we sort of have had a strange relationship, in the sense of, like, we're obviously really close mates.
Yep.
Whilst also, like, and that was pretty early on in our I was like paying you for coaching, but like it almost doesn't transpire this way of like you actually develop like a friendship with someone.
For sure.
And that's sort of what I felt we had. And you were telling me how busy that you were. So my perspective on it's probably not
the best, yeah.
Yeah, not accurate, because like I knew what you were actually doing as well.
Yeah.
So like I knew that, like, yeah, you were on that jet ski on a Wednesday, but I also knew that, you were fucking sending check-ins to me late at night, and you were grinding. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like hard for me. Like I knew what it really was. So like I guess other clients might have a different opinion.
I say I had balance, but realistically, I'd probably still be doing 9 to 10 hour days. I just would have had a 3-hour gap middle of the day where I had, I could go out on the jet ski if I wanted to. I could do various different things, go to the shopping mall, do what I wanted to do through the middle of the day. But I was still probably doing 8 to 10 hour days. It's just different compared to now, where like from 4 a.m. till 7 p.m., I don't have a spare minute. So like I couldn't do that now. I have no balance now. So that's, I guess, where I look back and go, I had balance back then. I don't have it now.
Yeah, and people don't, like, I can tell you now that people don't realize, because like I'll like go on Instagram and like while I'm in the office, my dog will come in and he'll like jump on my lap and start giving me a kiss, and I'll just like record it and like just fuck around with him and record it and put it on my story. And I remember speaking to a mate a few months ago, and I was telling him like the outline of my days. Like I'm similar-ish to yourself. I start at 5:45. My first PT 4 times a week is at 5:45 in the morning. On that one day that I have a bit of a sleep in, I start work on the laptop at like 6:30, and I finish at 7 pretty much every night. On the laptop. Sometimes it goes to 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. So it's realistically always a 12-hour day, with, half an hour break for lunch, and I go and walk the dogs. That takes half an hour as well. But otherwise, like, it's pretty much flat biscuit, and I don't have much of a free minute. Although I'm not the owner of the business, so I try, and if I really need a little bit more balance, I try and give myself that. But that might just be in the form of going on one more half an hour walk, or maybe like I ride dirt bikes. I've got a track near my house, so I might go for like a half an hour ride on my bike.
Yeah.
So it's still, You know, that might be my form of balance, but it's realistically still flat biscuit,
Minimal, yeah.
you know, 5 days a week. And then I usually do about 4, 5, 6 hours on a Saturday as well.
Yeah.
And then Sunday
There's a trade-off because you go to a normal workplace and obviously you can't do that because it's just, you can't. You have to be working X amount of hours from this point to this point. So we do the hours, we just have the flexibility as to when they're done.
Yeah, you do, man. And that's definitely a thing. I thought it was going to be way more flexible upon starting coaching than what it was, because realistically, you want to complete the workload in the time of the day that's you would usually be working a normal job anyway, though.
Yeah,
like you don't want, like you say, like, oh, you've got a lot of flexibility as a coach. Like you didn't specifically say that, but I'm just saying like that's what people would think. And it's like, yeah, you could just go and do what you wanted, but yeah, that's cool. But then I've still got to go catch that work up at 6 o'clock on a Friday night and work till 9 if I want to have that flexibility during the day and go and do that thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like not really, it's sort of like you are still kind of forced to work a normal day plus probably additional hours in order to
complete everything,
get everything done, and then still have the evening to chill, which everyone kind of wants to do.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
Every human wants to do that.
So then from that point there, I guess I would then go to Hype, where that was my first change of gym. So I went from Jets Pimpamar to Hype Pimpamar, which was an awesome gym. And we were obviously the first PTs there. And that was, yeah, that was a great transition for me, obviously into a bit of a bigger gym, a different gym, a family-based gym. And then I would say we had a very successful 1 to 2 competitive seasons, your first season being one of them. Obviously Cam, Christian, we had a few really cool athletes around that time. And then you guys really propelled, again, that competitive spirit and being able to showcase the results that you guys achieved helped me continue to grow the business. And then I would sort of, I guess, fast forward from there to really when the Tom character came around.
Which was about 2023.
That was 2023, late 2023. And as much as I would hate to admit it and give Tommy the credit for, that's probably where a huge shift in my business was, right? Give the credit for / he was just a part of, like he was a big part of it. And
he's a one-of-a-kind character.
He is a one-of-a-kind character. And me and Tommy's origin comes from high school, and we basically didn't see each other since high school. And he had messaged me responding to a story I put up of my steak and juice and being like, I would love to be able to eat that stuff. And I'm like, just go to the supermarket and grab yourself some steak, bro. You can eat that stuff. But anyway, he'd told me about his gout and, that he wasn't able to walk, and he'd been told that he's probably going to die in the next 5 years if he keeps going the way he is. He's 155 kilos. So we ended up connecting. He came in for his first PT session and, we sort of, I guess, meshed straight away, and things sort of picked off. I didn't really see him around too much at school. But yeah, so we really connected, I guess, in this late 2023 within our PT sessions. And I filmed him one day doing lunges, and that video did really well comparatively to what I was doing. So then the second time I filmed him and he was on the air bike, me overweight people and bikes.
Yeah, dude.
There's a bit of a trend here.
If you're fat and you organise a PT with Jack and there's a bike around, don't step on the fucker because you're probably going to get tortured.
And anyway, the seat literally went up his ass, literally.
Did he cry?
Nah, he didn't. But he was like, dude, this is so fucking uncomfortable. And I had a look and it was peeking literally up his asshole.
He just thought it was like a normal Friday night, but in fact, there was a seat up his ass.
And that video, that was our first viral video. And from there, he started getting recognized. So he was always requesting for us to video because he was like, this is cool. And it just really blew up from there. And then obviously, as more social media engagement was taking place with Tom and his weight loss journey, the business was essentially becoming more and more recognized, predominantly by, the overweight demographic.
But man, isn't it crazy? So we've got this competitive athlete that's on my team at the moment, Addison, who's a very elite first-time bodybuilding competitor. And I asked him, how did you stumble across our coaching and what led you to sign up? And he went, just Jack and Tommy's videos are really funny. And I just thought, I looked at Jack's profile and thought he looked like a really good coach that obviously knew what he was doing. So I decided to sign up. And I'm like, even an elite competitor with such an insane physique is looking at a video of you and Tom being knobheads and then signing up.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess that's why we portray almost different images of who we are online, right? We've obviously got that content that's funny, that gets people in, and obviously they see it and they see our character and, you know, obviously that's someone that they want to work with. But then obviously they go through the other forms of content and we actually do know our shit.
100%.
And we are experts in physique development.
And that's where, like, on contrary to what a lot of business coaches are saying at the moment, like, you need to have a niche. You need to target a specific audience and able to really be able to grow. And I'm like, dude, that's not what we do. Like, we work with a lot of people that are 150 plus kilos. We work with males, we work with females, we work with competitive athletes, we work with sports athletes. Like,
no one's the same, dude.
No.
Like, I've got a massive team of clients right now, massive, and no one's the same.
No one.
Everyone's different.
We've got such a diverse range of people that we work with, but why I think people come to us is they relate to us as humans. We do get down to business when we need to. We do have the knowledge. We've got the experience. We've got the passion, but we'll also have a bit of a laugh with you too. Did you see what I put on my story? The dude that reached out to me for coaching and what I responded?
No. Well,
bro, you didn't see it?
Should I look at it now?
No, I'll have to bring it up for you. Let me bring it up for you.
I've seen you do this before though. Like, I'm not sure what you're exactly about to say, but I've seen like people waltz into your private gym for a PT session and it's just like chatting to the bros straight away. Or
yeah,
like,
I mean, when I first had Kiki for my first PT session.
That's what I'm
Tell us
talking
about that story.
So, yeah, this woman comes in for this PT session with Jack at our private facility and I'm just there training, doing my own session. And like, I don't even know how the whole scenario exactly went off the top of my head because I was mid-set. But she just walks in and she's like, what the fuck's going on? And Jack's like, well, we're about to get into a fucking hectic PT session, aren't we? And she goes, fuck yeah, we are. And he's like, well, stop fucking talking about it and let's get into it and fuck shit up. And then it's just like, I'm like, oh, this is Jack's mate that he's known. Like, this is clearly a close friend of Jack that he's known for ages. And then they're going through the session. Jack's talking shit. They're going backwards and forwards. They're frigging having a yarn, having a laugh, talking about shit that I probably won't mention on the podcast. And anyway, they do the session. They're frigging going backwards and forwards the whole session and having a right old time. And then she leaves and I go, fucking hell, how long you known her for? And she's like, that was the first session. I'm like, what?
I literally just met her.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. Like, all right, this was the message. And then if you click forward a couple, you'll see his response. So that's the message he sent me.
Do I need to read it?
Read it out. Yeah, read it out.
So he goes...
You have to just...
I have seen this actually. Do you want me to pronounce the spelling errors?
Yeah, of
yeah.
course.
He goes, hi Jack, my name is so-and-so, trained by Zach from BBL. He gave me your number because he doesn't take on guys to couch. He said you're the second best couch on the coast. Looking to get a couch for my nutrition and training. If you have any spots to add a new client. And he goes, Zach, instead of spelled Z-A-C-K, he goes, sorry, it's Z-A-C, autocorrect. And then your response was, I can't see your response.
You keep tapping forward.
And then Jack responds with a picture of his couch going, we currently have this couch open for training and nutrition if that works. And he responds, mate, that couch looks perfect. Like there's enough room for me and my wife wants to be couched. She might have to change couches. That's fucking
so funny. Yeah, basically that was the first message he sent me, bro. And I sent it and I was like, shit, maybe I shouldn't have sent that message back considering that was an inquiry. So this is a message inquiry. But for me, once I'd said it, I'm like, you know what? If he knows anything about me, this is what I'm like. And I was like, if he doesn't like that type of humor, then this is probably the wrong coach for him to be coming to anyway. But anyway, he had a good laugh. It just broke the ice.
Mm.
And that's how I am when I get on phone calls with people, because I used to be extremely professional, and I think it was a bit of a take back for people when they would come off my content with Tom, and then I speak overly professional, very straight, and they're like, oh. So,
yeah, this is very normal. I was the same in the early stages of my career working for you, like really professional and over the top. And it's a little bit of a lack of confidence thing because you've got a little bit of imposter syndrome with the job, and you like want to demonstrate to people who haven't spoken to you yet that you sort of know what you're talking about and you're the best coach for them. But now I don't care because I know my shit and I know I help people, and I've got a massive team of clients that are majorly developing their physique right now. So I don't need to put on this persona of a true professional, because I know you come on my team, I'll get you fucking results and we'll have a laugh while doing it.
I think too, what we learn as coaches is they connect with your, like, the human side of you first before they do the professional side. So if you can make that human connection first with the individual, then they become more responsive on the professional side of things as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's that respect there.
100%. So anyway, Tom came along late 2023, and my personality really started to shine on social media. I think prior to that, I was trying to not be something I wasn't, but I think I was just...
Nah, it's definitely not being something you're not.
No, but I think I was just trying to be too professional, only showcasing my professional side and really lacking that human side that people probably genuinely connect with. And the content was as simple as grabbing the phone, putting it on a tripod, clicking play, forgetting it's there, let's go train. And then we could clip it up to a point where it just showed personality, genuinely what the PT session was like. And I think that's why people connected so well with it.
And just pure humor.
Just pure humor.
Talking about crazy shit.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
But that's what happens in PT, does it not? Like, we talk about crazy shit with
real
our clients.
Life. Yeah.
100%.
That's real life.
So,
bro, I'm 90% sure actual one-on-one PT clients that I train at my local gym in Bow Desert, I'm certain that all of them are just there because I'm a funny fucker that talks shit and cracks jokes all session. But actually, I know my shit as well. And I do push them through a hard session, and it's always really challenging. But for the most part, it's in an environment where in between those really hard working sets, we're having a laugh and we're making jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people like that shit.
So yeah, Tom happened. Then we fast forward, I guess, to where we are now, really. And over the last...
Well, I mean, you've got that. You could talk about leaving Hype, and then you could talk about what led you to go solely into coaching, and then you could talk about potentially the facility.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
quickly.
I did make the decision to leave Hype, which was one of the hardest decisions that I had ever made because...
Sorry, bro. I'll quickly say Hype, absolutely amazing gym. I went there as you moved there from Jets, and that was a major part of like my training life from like 2022 onwards, where it just had the best vibe, crazy good selection of equipment. Everyone was there. It was like a massive family gym. It was absolutely amazing time of like my overall life. And I ended up PTing out of there as well at one point. But it was amazing.
It was awesome. And it was a huge part of my career too. So it was so fucking difficult to leave that. And with leaving Hype, I was at the time leaving PT. So I was cutting PT off to solely focus on online, because we had obviously we'd established coaching by that time. I think you had
I was already on the team.
You were on the team.
I was on the team for sure. I was on the team for a few months at that point before you left.
We had Tez on the team, and Tez is just a all-rounder. She just does absolutely everything.
Yep.
So we had her on the team. Hoya was still doing her own thing, but chipping in when needed. And it was like, right, let's take this online thing and let's focus on that solely. PT was holding me back because it was just too many hours out of the day with a low return on investment financially.
Getting me on board opened an entire new avenue for the business, but with that came almost more problems on how do we take this to a business that is essentially a sole effort on your part and people only buy into the business for you?
Oh.
And then how do we add this second coach in that essentially no one fucking knows? And then I guess get him full of clients.
And do that without anyone telling you how to do this.
Yeah.
It is honestly like when you're a PT.
It was fucked.
Yeah.
It was hard.
When you're a PT, all you've ever done as PT, you've built your own personal brand. You've built your skill set up. You've showcased your skill set. You're right. That was probably one of the most challenging things I've professionally ever had to circumnavigate, was bringing you on as a coach and then trying to make people who trust me trust you.
It was super demoralizing for me. Hey,
yeah, well, you've had some harsh comments over the years.
That period of time, just because I'd put so many years into the study to become a PT whilst working a full-time job. I was so passionate about being a PT and online coach. Like, I decided I wanted to merge into the career in 2020. And it wasn't until 2024, mid 2024, that it actually happened. And it happened with the support of joining your team and working at Hype. And I'll never forget this. After putting years and years into the study, the personal training and the nutrition, trying to build myself up, doing natural bodybuilding shows and, winning categories, and feeling like I'd really built myself a solid foundation to be a great coach. And I was very confident in that. And I remember in week 1, I joined your coaching team as your first coach, and then also become a PT at Hype in the same week. And I'll never forget this. That first week, I put up a video on Instagram and collaborated with you in it, and you already had a massive following. And I just remember saying, like, look, guys, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Lewis, new PT at Hype. I'm just letting you know that for the first week of PTing here, I'll be offering free sessions. So if anyone wants a free session, hit me up. I'm more than happy to go through anything with you, and we'll get it done, bro. Not one person for a free session.
Not one.
Not one. After putting 4 years of study, living the life as far as developing my own physique, training, nutrition, hydration, sleep, all in on fitness, not one person.
How did that for a free session, like,
killed me?
If you can dig and describe it, how did that feel?
Killed me. Like, not killed me as in mentally, like I'm mentally really strong guy and I always try and channel the positive thoughts. But as far as that side of my life, it was really tricky to comprehend, especially with the support of yourself.
Did you feel embarrassment?
A little bit, but like I said, I'm not one to, like, I've always been mentally really, really solid. So I'm not one to, like, hyper focus on the embarrassment, but it definitely didn't feel nice. I definitely felt embarrassed. Why are you laughing?
Bro, like, do you know how many times this has happened to me?
Yeah.
All the fucking time, bro.
As far as harsh comments, though, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean?
What do you mean by harsh comments that I've had? Like, as
not harsh comments, but I think you've had, like, people second guess your abilities when they actually know nothing about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's obviously, at times it can feel disrespectful, Not that I think they mean it in that way.
Yeah, people that wouldn't give me a chance, not knowing what I bring to the table, but just because of who I am and the fact that they don't know me, it's like, you're not willing to give me a chance.
Yeah.
And that's my ascension as a coach, revolved around putting all of my possible effort into my clients, getting them results, and then you just slowly build off that, and eventually you've got a massive team of clients, and you've got all the trust in the world from new people that I onboard, that I'm great at what I do, but you need to build that first. And even with you, we had to build that. I think another reason that it demoralized me the early stages of coaching with you is, like, I was like, fuck, I'm set. I'm a qualified PT now. I've put all your years into acquiring the knowledge, so I'll be fucking sweet with that. And now I've just got to let Jack get me clients. He'll feed them to me. I'll earn good money. I'll be living the dreams. It just never works like that in life, man.
It just doesn't. But look, we are today, and I think it's just continuing to turn up. And bro, I've done HIIT classes, free sessions. Bro, even recently, right? We did Tommy's first run, and like 2 people turned up. you know.
Mm.
And it's at times, like I think I walked away from that day and I was a little bit like, oh man, like people don't give a fuck. But they do, bro.
It is kind of important to realize that in life though as well. Like that, you've got to look at it from a point of maturity. Like for the most part, people don't give a fuck.
No, they don't. And why should they?
And why should they?
Why should they?
But it ain't that deep at the same time as well though. You know what I mean? Like there's no point looking into it like that.
No, I said to Tommy, I said, dude, it's the first time we've gone there. There's nothing to show for it. There's no, oh, that looks like a vibe. Oh, that looks enticing. Oh, that looks fun. Oh, that's going to help me get started. No one knows nothing. So we announced that first one, and I think we had 2 people turn up. We did our second one today.
Yeah.
And we had 4 people turn up. And it's just one of those things, bro, that it's about consistency.
Yeah.
And it's like you didn't let no one turning up to your first week of PT. You didn't go, oh, fuck this isn't for me.
Yeah.
You're like, sweet, well, I'm going to turn up again next week.
And I'll turn
the
up
week
again,
after. And the week after.
And the week after. And do more content.
Yeah.
And film more.
Yeah.
And build more knowledge. You know what I did? Do you know what I did?
You started pulling dildos out of McDonald's bags, bro.
That was... Yeah, see this shit.
That's
now
what
you
did.
really are
So
bringing up a
taking
dark
me
lad.
to 2024.
Forget not getting any clients in my first week. That was really dark when I still didn't have an abundance of clients, and I'd go to your house to film content, and you'd be at the door holding a big rubber dick, and you'd go, this is what we're doing today, bro. And I almost wanted to punch you, not knowing the context, but yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so where were we?
I guess we were talking about how...
Leaving Hype.
Leaving Hype, yeah.
Leaving
we
Hype.
were, yeah. Sorry.
And then I obviously missed PT a lot. So I actually went to Iron Asylum, which was a little private facility owned by Sam Pearce, who's a Australian bodybuilder. And I did the odd session for a very high ticket price. And basically just anyone that really, really wanted PT would pay that high ticket price, and it would obviously get me into the gym for a little bit. And then it allowed me to itch that scratch that I had when I was missing PT, because I really did miss that personal one-on-one side.
Yep.
Sam ended up closing down Iron, and I had nowhere to go, obviously. And Hoyer and I had this dream always of having our own gym. Not a big commercial gym, but just our own gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a private gym that just we could train at. And yeah, we just saw these, one afternoon I saw these units pop up, and I asked to go have a look. I had a look, not really having an idea whether I could afford it or not. And then it just all happened randomly. And before I knew it, I owned this fucking empty unit. And it was just like, fuck, right, we're doing this. And I was so nervous about just sinking myself doing this, because it was one of those financial moves that could potentially just empty everything out, and then you eventually have to sell up and end up with nothing. But we ended up obviously filling that gym up. And, you know, people continued to pay the high ticket price. I continued to PT out of there for a little bit, which is where we are today, where we've got a private facility with an office upstairs, coaches working out of it. And sometimes, as we literally spoke about it the other night as we were leaving at 7 p.m., that it's a little bit surreal that a year ago your coaching really picked up. A year and a half to 2 years ago, you just started with me, and we were sort of starting to build the foundation of what the team is today, the core foundation. And now we're all sitting in an office together, you know,
with more work than I know what to do with, a whole massive team of clients, and just going, wow, this shit really did work out the way we wanted it to.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more work to be done.
For sure.
And, you know, I think it can progress even further, but it's just nice to be in that position where I'm able to do the job I love full time and help so many people and get paid well doing it.
Yeah.
So
that's where we're
stoked.
at. But I think, you know, we can also let's quickly touch on a question before we go into some of these client stories that I know we wanted to touch on. Let's go into this question. So we were just speaking before this podcast started about confidence. And when is confidence too much? So in your opinion, can you have too much confidence?
Absolutely. In anything, you can have too much confidence, because there comes a point, and this is sort of what I was saying previously before the podcast started. So confidence is essentially derived from skill or knowing that you're good at something, essentially. Now, this is outside of, like, I guess, personal confidence in how you look, which is sort of something that's naturally acquired if you're a good looking person. But then again, still good. A lot of good looking people aren't confident people. So, but what I'm saying is, if you're good at something, you're going to have that confidence in what you do, right? But then let's just totally, for example, just because it's in my head, use dirt bikes. So if you know that you're really good at riding a dirt bike, you're going to have confidence that you can clear a certain jump, right? But then there comes a point where being overconfident can be dangerous, and that can cause you to make mistakes and can cause you to crash out. And I think that that's the case in normal life as well. Like, if you're overconfident and just essentially believe that your ability and what you're trying to do is
far beyond
your capability, that's when confidence is a bad thing. And I think, because you can almost look at it from two avenues of, like, confidence in, like, a skill, or, like, confidence in what you do, and then confidence in your own personal self as far as, like, emotional and physical confidence in how you look. And I think there's being overconfident in that aspect as well, because realistically, I think having confidence in who you are, it shows stability. It shows that you like the person that you are, but it also, if you have way too much, it's not a good thing. Like, people don't respect that. You know, you want to be confidently modest.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think it's because your beliefs of yourself are far beyond the actions that you're showing people, and that's where they go, right, you aren't self-aware because you clearly think you're acting in a manner that you're not, because you're acting as though you're doing this, and what we're seeing is this?
I think that is definitely an aspect of it. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're not necessarily delivering on the person that you're building yourself up to be, that's definitely, like, something that people would cringe on. But I think, let's even use an example of someone who, just for example, a bloke, 6'2", really good looking, shitloads of money, great job, great personality, and is just insanely confident because of that, and almost cocky, what most people would describe it as. But displaying that characteristic is almost naive, because you are still a human who still feels emotions and can still be impacted by life despite how good you've got it. As far as if you suffer a tragedy, as far as if something negative happens in your life, you're still going to feel emotions. And it's almost like you build yourself up or portray yourself as someone who's untouchable. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. 100%.
And people don't like that. So, like, even if you do have everything and you're not going to say the perfect human, but you know what I mean? You seem to tick all the boxes that would allow you to be that confident. It's like being fully confident in every situation of life, and sort of talking so good about yourself is like, it's almost like you're removing the fact that you are just a normal human, and you're like building yourself up to be this superhuman. Like, at the end of the day, everyone should try and channel confidence in the person that they are, because everyone's special in their own way, and everyone's got their own attributes that makes them, you know, who they are. But at the same time, you shouldn't like.
I like what you said there about, like, life can still happen to you. And I think when we're overconfident, if we want to use that word, or even dipping into the word cocky, you're almost distancing yourself from those humans around you who you're probably going to really need if life goes sideways, if you lose a loved one, if you experience some form of tragedy. Like,
if you break your leg.
Yeah, like, your good looks aren't going to get you through that.
No.
Your money's not going to get you through that.
No.
Even your skill set isn't going to get you through that. Other humans are. And if you've built up a persona that you're so far above everyone else, you lose human connection with those around you, because they can't connect to you because they don't feel like they're on the same level as you.
Yeah, I
think that's where a lot of famous people struggle too.
Bro, I didn't word it before the way I really wanted it to, but another example I'm going to create is, like, let's use coaching as an example. It's like, if someone called me wanting coaching and they told me their scenario, and I would obviously explain to them in a confident manner of how I can help you. I would outline all the, I guess, interventions we're going to make with training and nutrition in order to make their transformation possible and for me to help them out of coaching. But I wouldn't boast about how I'm the best coach. And it's partly because I don't actually think I'm the best coach, but it's also just like I'm very, very confident in what I bring to the table as a coach, but I'm not going to go and boast about it and be that guy that's like trying to put himself on that pedestal, because people just don't want to hear that. And you just set yourself up for...
I think a big part of coaching, though, is listening. And if you're telling someone, no, you can do this, and you're not listening to them saying, hey, I can't do this, and your answer is simply, yes, you can, which, hey, sometimes we want to give people that push. Yes, you can do it. Come on. But sometimes it's like, hold on. Can we, instead of taking them from here to here, can we maybe break these steps down and come up with an intervention to genuinely help this individual, rather than just saying, hey, yes, you can. The answer is yes, you can. It creates a look like, so that's like me being overconfident in coaching. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Like how you just intervene then and explain that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, it's like you're too overconfident in what you do that you're not able to assist people and actually listen to their problems and then see it at face value, because in your opinion you've put yourself on such a high pedestal that it's either your way or the highway. And people do this in not just coaching, in everyday life. They do it with their relationships, they do it with their friends, they do it with sports, and they do it with anything. It's like you're being narrow-minded because essentially you just think what you do is perfect and you're overconfident in that. And in order to be a good coach, you need to be able to, bro, it's not about like, we know this, right? The program has always got to be suited to the individual. Some people just don't have the same capabilities or circumstances and schedule as other people, and you've got to be able to adapt your program to suit that individual. But if I was an overconfident coach that what I specifically do is the best, you're not going to be able to provide that for people because you're not willing to change how you do things because you think what you do is the best.
I just came up with a really funny scenario. And I guess it's something that I didn't speak about because I didn't really think too much of it at the time. I felt that way and then I kind of just moved on with the day. But remember when we were doing Tough Mudder, right? And there was that one obstacle where it was like pretty fucking high and it was just fucking timber. And you went and did it, right? But it was pretty fucking sketchy. I was looking at it, and from my point of view, I started assessing like, if that looks sketchy and like it could potentially go wrong, it's not worth my time or effort doing that,
or reward,
or there's no reward to it. So I'm like, nah. Now, if I was with a certain type of person, they'd be like, come on, man, don't be a fucking pussy. Just get up there. Just come on, you can do it. Like, that's like almost an overconfident person that's not considering my thoughts, my thought process. Whereas like you didn't even question it. You were even like, oh bro, that is pretty sketchy. Fair enough. Like, you know, because it was like you had listened and you probably thought about it from my perspective and was like, oh, it'd be cool for us all to get over that. But yeah, you're probably right.
I've got another good question for you, which is a slight deviation, but it's on the same topic. Do you think overconfidence is a form of insecurity? Because the reason I stood up there and said that to you is because I know you've got nothing to prove, and I know you're confident in yourself, and I know that risking potential injury isn't worth the small amount of reward, and I'm not gonna, like, I'm confident enough in who I am and who you are, and I know you're confident in who you are, to like not try and egg you on just for the sake of seeing you do something that could potentially cause risk.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
And it takes confidence to do that.
100%.
And stability in yourself.
When you just voiced it like that, I just 100% overconfidence can, in a lot of cases, be a form of insecurity. Like egging someone on to do something stupid, it's almost like because you've done it, you feel like an idiot for doing it in some cases. Let's just talk about a lot of youth. Like I can't even really think of a scenario, but when I'm talking how I'm talking, it's usually in a lot of younger males that would do this.
I can think of 40 because this is what my mates were like all the time.
You would go do something silly, probably recognize within yourself that was a little bit dumb. Come on, you do it too, because I'm a little bit insecure about how fucking stupid I've just been. If you be stupid with me, that would make me feel a little better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's probably some better examples of this in a bit more of a relatable manner for most other people outside of young men. But I definitely think that overconfidence is a huge form of insecurity.
Yeah, I do. I agree, man. Yeah, I think so as well.
Or I think at times too, it's usually like, it can be paired sometimes too with like your ego. I think like it's very egotistical too, because sometimes you might be egging someone, like, they can't do that. Like, let's just say Tom was there, right? He can't get up that wall safely. So for you to egg him on, you're wanting him to admit to you that he can't do it. So
it's
you
also
feel
affirmation to yourself. It makes you feel better about yourself
Yeah, I'm
because you
superior.
just proved to yourself that you can do something that person can't. But my example, so when I climbed up that wall, I did so because I wanted to challenge myself in doing that. And for me, there was intrinsic value in me getting over that feature and doing it. But that doesn't mean that that's the same for you. And there's nothing to prove there for you in doing it. Like, I just wanted to do it for my own reasons. And like, because it was sketchy, I almost think about like the risk versus reward for yourself. And even though it's something cool and obviously there's a reward in getting over it, it's like, man, it's just not worth it. And you've got nothing to prove to me.
And
I know you're confident in the person that you are.
It felt like a long time, but it probably all happened within the space of 30 seconds. But I was approaching it, and in my mind, there was no doubt I was doing it. And then I was sort of watching a few people do it. And then obviously you started, and I was like, fuck, he's done it. Now I'm going to have to do it in my mind. And it was literally, you know what? You could do it. You know you can. But there is some serious risk there.
That one there was. To paint the picture to the listeners, this was like a probably 5 meter high timber frame at Tough Mudder, but the previous obstacles had been like waving through like really, really deep mud, and there was like a thin layer of mud on these timber frames that was like really thin, that it was only like one timber stud thick, so it was like really, really skinny, and there was a thin layer of mud on it. And as you got to the top, you're like 5 meters in the air, and then you've got to like climb over this last bit that's like really, really thick, so you've almost got to like climb onto the top. And there's one point where you don't have, like, you've only got like 2 points of contact on each timber, and it's like a real thin, slippery layer of mud on top. And I got to the top and I was like, fuck, like there is a point here where you could slip and fall the whole 5 meters, and that would be like 100% a catastrophic injury, at least at a very minimum in the form of a broken leg.
And you're a little bit less flexible and agile at 107 kilos.
Yeah, definitely. When you see someone who's like, 77 like me, just sort of get up it, but sort of at the top, it's a little bit tricky to circumnavigate. It's probably you just look at it and go,
I think I've seen you like at the top trying to throw your leg over, and you hesitated a couple of times, and I've seen the sketchiness on someone and I know you're very athletic, you're very fit, you're very able.
And I'm also not really scared. Like,
you've got no fear.
I'm not like a fearful guy around that sort of stuff. Like, I'll always just send it. Like, for me, it's not even a question. I'm just definitely going to send it.
And I could tell that you hesitated, and I was like, fuck. I think watching all these other people do it, I was like, oh, yeah, of course they're going to make it look sketchy. Then watching you do it, and it looks sketchy, and I was like,
yeah, no joke at the top, but for a second then, like I said, I'm just not really fearful, even though we were like quite high, and like I'm just not really scared of that sort of stuff. Like, I just don't really care. Like, and at the top, I'm always calm and composed. There was a split second because it's really hard to explain, but there was like, you couldn't just swing your leg over and then you had something for your foot to go on the bottom. There was like a meter gap in between two things. I think
the best way to explain it is it was 5, maybe, bro, 5 meters even seems...
No, it was 5. Yeah, 5 is really tall if you don't. Okay. Yeah, like 5
so
meters. So
it was like,
really
let's
tall.
say 5 meters tall, but there was only 3 timber studs.
Yeah, there was a massive gap in between.
So you can imagine the gap between the 3
and
of
then
them.
At the top, it wasn't like you just climb over the frame and climb over this top timber and then put your foot on the timber that your foot was previously on. There was like a meter gap between two, and then a separate part of the frame going down the other side. So you had to, like, for a bit, you were like looking down into the abyss of 5 meters, and there was just nothing there to support you. So you literally would have just fallen. And at the top, it was really slippery. So when you went to put your foot on, and there was nothing else to grab on other than the timber that you were already standing on, and then the timber you were about to climb over, and then there was a gap in between as well, so you had to like climb yourself to the other side as well. And the way I had to do it was like lay down and sort of skimper over. because it was
5 meters.
because it was a big gap, and it was just sketchy.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, well, let's finish up with a few client stories because we've got a couple of client stories, I guess, that you were mentioning. If you want to dive into this scenario.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited for this one.
I was just going to say, because as a coach, obviously, it's quite a personal relationship that you build with clients. Like, you're essentially telling people what to eat, how much water to drink. You obviously need to get your 7 hours of sleep, fully, what to train. And it's quite personal as far as these daily habits that we encourage clients establish. And, as far as there might be reasons clients can't get their steps in or complete the training sessions or get a sufficient amount of sleep. So, and also, obviously, it's important to note that we are changing people's lives in the sense of, like, they will come to us quite overweight, and then when they lose an abundance of weight and then build muscle, they turn into, obviously, increasingly more attractive individuals. And I'll often get clients, and obviously for our female clients, it's important that we know at what stage they're at in their menstrual cycle, just roughly, so we're able to sort of gauge their physiological response during that time. And so that's just an example of what would seemingly be too much information for compared to some professions. Also, like, if there's any digestive disruptions and someone can't go to the toilet, that's another thing that we need to be noticing.
Bowel movements.
Yeah, it's like when's the last time did you pass a stool? Like, you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. And but libido's a massive one, and that's really good segue
that was going to be part of my one. Can I go first?
Yeah, go first, man. Yeah,
I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
Because I've got one that really stands out to me that I just remember made me laugh so hard. So this is a client who, funnily enough, I actually went to school with as well, and then I've become closer with because we've done some one-on-one sessions. But anyway, he's lost over 30 kilos, and we, at the end of it, were in quite a significant deficit, right? Quite a large deficit. And as you can imagine, energy starts to trend down. And with that, we can also start to see some, hormone suppression as well.
Of course.
So we lose libido. So if you have lost a ton of weight or you're on really low calories, sometimes your libido falls off. And as a male, you probably have a much lower sex drive than what you normally would. And in some cases, you start to have almost erectile dysfunction. So you just don't get.
In the extreme cases of being really low body fat, because essentially our body can't allocate that energy to producing hormones that regulate sex drive.
That's right.
That's essentially what happens.
So this individual was at that point of his journey. And he'd gotten into an argument with his missus, and he was telling me this in person. He'd gotten into an argument with his missus, and she marched out he goes, we hadn't had sex in a couple of months by this point.
Oh, God.
And she marched out the front door and said, "You're so fucking gay. I think you're gay now," and slammed the door. Bro, I fucking lost it, man.
Dude, you would be so pissed because obviously you're in a deficit and your mood's probably a little bit disrupted from the deficit as well, and you're probably feeling angry, and then it's like, not only are you not getting pussy, but your missus is calling you gay.
But I think if you've ever experienced it, because I have through contest preparation,
Me too.
Bro, it is a very demasculating feeling when you lose your libido. It's almost like you wish to want it, but you just don't. And then secondly, when it just stops working or just you don't get it up like you did.
This is a bit personal for me, but I didn't believe you when we did our first contest preparation in 2023. You told me your libido's going to go, and I'm like, no, it's not, bro. Because I'd never experienced that in my life, and I'm not someone who ever struggles in that department. And I was like, no, it's not. Don't be stupid. And then, truth be told, 8 weeks out from show until the last 8 weeks of contest prep, nothing, bro. Like, to the point that it wouldn't matter if Margot Robbie was at the front door. Bro, unless she had a couple of rice cakes on her. Margot Robbie could be at the front door with her fucking tits out, and honestly, unless she had a few rice cakes or some honey, I'd go slam the door in her face and fuck off.
Yeah, bro.
I'm not interested, man.
It is. It's the most demasculating feeling. So he would have felt like shit, and then on top of that, he's getting called up, being called gay by
gay.
So I thought that was really funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I've just had a few, I don't have any specific stories. I'll just get clients, I've helped them lose 30 kilos. They've built muscle. They've totally reshaped their physique. And, without being crude about it, they've gone from, somewhat of an unattractive human to quite good looking,
Yeah.
and that's obviously opened doors for them to the female anatomy, like Tommy would say.
Like Tommy would say. It happens a lot, though. I think a lot of people underestimate how attractive they could be or how aesthetically pleasing they could be when they are 20, 30, 40 kilos overweight.
But it's also the confidence too, right? What we were talking about before.
100%.
It's the physical attraction, but then they're confident in how they look. And I mean, people love confidence. Like if they see a confident individual, not cocky, but confident, that's attractive to a lot of people, man, because it displays other traits of who they are. Like they're stable, they like who they are, they're comfortable with the person that they are as well. And obviously confidence sort of portrays that. But I've just had clients like lose 20 or 30 kilos and just message me on a Monday morning and they just go, bro, feeling fucking awesome in this program. Like my weights are going up. I'm losing fat. I'm super confident in my physique. And me and the wife had a sick fuck last night. And I'm just like I'm almost reading through it and I'm just like, fuck yeah.
Do
man,
I bring that up?
I'm like, training sick, fucking, yeah, nutrition, you're loving it, sweet, man. I'm like, oh, fuck. And they're like, yeah, we had the best route ever last night. And I'm just like, nice, man. Fuck, nice for saying that. I've also had, female clients. Obviously, we mentioned before that we've got daily habits, and obviously getting 7 hours of sleep is in one of those habits. And it's gotten to check-in day, and they've just written on their form like, look, sleep hasn't been the best over the weekend only, just because there were a few fun scenarios with some men over the weekend that involved no sleep. I'm like,
damn.
Okay.
Baby girl,
how do I address
baby girl
that?
getting dead.
Damn, girl. So,
You're welcome.
Yeah, there's those sorts of things as well that, people lose a bunch of weight and then, they're obviously super happy with the weight loss and the confidence that it's giving them and obviously the strength as well. But another thing that the weight loss and the physique development's giving them is... more
an opening to a sexual life.
More sexual encounters than they know what to do with. So that's something that's just funny that I get quite obviously we've got quite a big team now and there's more of that coming through. It's personal information.
I think with the amount of overweight people we've worked with and seen fat loss, I think it is a common denominator, as crude as it sounds to continually bring this up, the amount of people that lose weight not only just start to have sexual partners and things like that, but even just partners, dude. A lot of guys, mid-20s to 30s that I've coached that have literally never had a girlfriend in their life and now have a partner who they've been with for a year, 6 months, and are really, really happy in a relationship which they'd never experienced until they lost that weight. And were able to go out and obviously have the confidence to speak to a woman and engage in a relationship.
Yep.
And it's pretty fucking cool to see, because I think a relationship with the opposite sex is one of the most important things us as humans need.
A solid relationship for sure, with someone who you're attracted to both physically and mentally. And I think being confident in yourself allows you to go and find that person, which is obviously amazing. And you see people over the coaching journey, they slowly build, don't they? It's small wins at the start, and then it starts compounding over time, where it's started with a couple of kilos. Now they're hitting a bunch of PBs in the gym. They're losing more weight. You're seeing obviously major physique improvements. And then the next thing you know, they're mentioning how work's improved, and they're mentioning how, they've been going out and seeing more chicks, or if they're a girl, seeing more dudes and, getting some. And then they're like, oh, now, I've got a chick and I'm with someone. And it just builds and builds and builds and builds, doesn't it? And it's all just stems from getting your life together.
And it's funny, that's literally our job. Sometimes you look back on someone, I could even say for you as a client, for me, I've literally watched your life change over the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've watched Tom's life change drastically over the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Or 3 years, I should say. But it's a crazy thing as a coach you almost feel you're a huge part of their life, because you've watched them hit so many milestones, achieve so many things, and go from potentially being depressed, single, not really knowing what to do, to then transitioning into a career, meeting a woman, getting married, having their first child, and you've been there for all of that. You're almost a huge part of it and what led to it.
You've played a huge role in it in a way, which is just fuels the fire, which is our love for this job and passion to help people.
Yeah.
So,
right, let's wrap it up there. That's another episode done, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.